This story is part of the saga of the ghost students, a story in 3 parts from Lincolnshire's Northcote Heavy Horse Centre, a sanctuary for big horses run by volunteer staff. We bought a generator. It could be also called My Lorry Has Been Given a Beaver Tail Within Just a Few Seconds. So we bought a generator. Not any old generator, mind you. This one proved to be a real beast, a standby generator for a coal mine. Yes, a whole huge coal mine. It came from Sunderland in northeast England. Say no more. Steve and his friend, the one who built that new all-metal dray for us the other year, dabbles in things unusual and had found us this large high-power generator for not much money. "It's worth more as an antique exhibit," said Wilf Husbands, the owner of this magnificent machine. Wilf had bought it from a pit, a coal mine to those from the south of our island. He intended putting it on an old lorry chassis to make the whole thing into an antique exhibit. Steve had said it was big and wouldn't go on a trailer. When we arrived in Wilf's yard that Monday lunchtime, there was this huge yellow box on 4 large wheels. Big? It was enormous, totally self-contained on its own trailer. "Oh, I'll just lift it onto your lorry with my loading shovel," said Wilf confidently. The first bit was okay, and within a short while the front of the machine was resting comfortably, albeit at a queer uphill angle, on the back of the lorry. That was the easy bit. Now for the back end, the bit with the engine and the generator itself. A bit of a bump. Wilf put 2 heavy lifting chains around the top of his 15-ton Caterpillar loading bucket and 2 hooks, one on each corner of the back of the generator. All went well for a moment, and just as the machine was almost on, a huge twang, and the chains parted like a carrot. The generator followed its natural gravitational route to Earth and totally flattened the subframe of the lorry on both back corners. We think about 4.5 tons dropped on the lorry from 4 feet. After the dust settled, the 2 girls, that is Ruth, my wife, and Andy's wife Michelle, had disappeared. They had decided, having seen precarious things before involving Andy and myself, they were best out of it. "I just wouldn't have believed it," said Wilf. Who would have thought that the chain would have parted? After that, he just lifted the back of the generator with the bucket blade, and we had no more trouble. It travelled well all the way home that evening. Before finally leaving, however, we spent an hour or so at a farm close to Andy and Michelle's house to collect an old diesel cement mixer and an even more ancient diesel-powered saw bench that Andy had begged for us. They went on the trailer behind the lorry, and after tea we set off back to Spilsby. A note for our story here is when Steve had telephoned Andy to say that we had encountered a problem loading the huge generator onto the lorry, and when the generator dropped onto the lorry floor and flattened out the chassis, Keith had seemed to stay pretty cool. Well, to explain this fact, we'd better tell you about the boat that fell on the road. Make sure you read that story. So that's the end of that little story. There are 2 more parts to this series, but this is one of the most exciting. If you enjoy reading our stories and watching them on YouTube, then would you be so kind as to give us a like? If you got to like them, obviously. And then if you feel even more inclined, perhaps you'd subscribe to our channel. Now that does help our YouTube record on this channel, and also YouTube will let you know just as soon as we produce something new. Additionally, if you want to look at any other publications produced by Cracker Books, then here in this panel you can see the links to, first of all, our bookcase, where there are 10 complete books to download. Hours and hours of entertainment there. You can have a look at the excuse me, have a look at the bookcase. You can look details of all the books and choose what you like. They're free to download. Additionally, there's the details of our website where you can see what we do and why we do it. It's www.crackerbooks.fr. Isn't that easy to remember? And until next time, thank you for being with us. Goodbye.